By the end of this video, you're going to have figured out exactly what is going to be on every single one of your exams. And no, this isn't cheating. This is just me telling you how to work smarter, not harder, a foolproof method that works every time, and the way in which I believe I was able to get those 5 A stars and almost all grade 9s at GCSE. Helping you get the best grades possible on today's episode of Sustainable Study Secrets. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's episode of Sustainable Study Secrets. I am going to tell you exactly how to predict what is going to be on your papers, which will really help you because you will just be revising the most relevant things. Why on earth would you waste time revising things that are not going to be on the paper? Without further ado, you don't have much time, I don't have much time, let's get into it. Let me tell you how to accurately predict what topics are going to come up. Step 1, you need the past papers from last year, the year before, and ideally the year before that if you have time. Unfortunately for you, for GCSEs and A-levels and other standardised exams, the paper that was used last year will not be publicly available. So the best way to get past papers is on your exam board's website. So go to AQA at Excel and go for their past papers. You will see that last year's papers are locked. The reason they do this is just because your teachers will use them for mocks. Perfect! They were your mock exams. You don't necessarily need the mark scheme, but you need the paper for this. And when you've got the paper for the last 3 years, you want to get your specification. I want you to section off the parts of the specification that the exam is about. So if you look at A-level economics, paper 1 is just on themes 1 and 3. So that's all we're going to be focusing on for the purpose of this exercise. Then you're going to go through the practice papers from the last few years and you're going to start a tally chart. So here I've got an example. Here is my A-level economics specification. I will go through the practice papers and I'll see, okay, well last year subsidies came up as a 25 mark question. I'm going to put a little tally next to it. And then I'll go through all of the papers in the past 3 years. Okay, maybe subsidies came up twice, 3 times. Indirect taxation came up once, blah, blah, blah. By the end of the task, my specification will look like this. This is just an example of one area of the specification, but obviously it will have the entire specification on there. Now, what are you going to do with this information? So what you've just done is you have identified what topics are coming up again and again and again. You can see from these examples that government failure has come up 8 times. I can pretty confidently say government failure is going to come up somewhere in paper 1 or paper 3. Therefore, I will be sure to focus my revision on that. So topics that have come up time and time again, you can pretty confidently predict that they will come up in some way, shape or form. Now we get on to the more challenging ones. Those topics that have 0 tallies next to them or 1. Okay, the ones that have 1 tally, I need you to go back to that practice paper. Go back to the past paper and figure out where it came up. Hopefully you will kind of remember, but okay, did it come up once as a 10 mark question 3 years ago? Did it come up once 3 years ago as a small question? If so, you can probably pretty accurately predict that it is going to come up this year. So pay it a little bit more attention. If something hasn't come up at all for the past 3 years, again, it might be quite likely to come up. So you need to be strategic with this. If something came up once last year as a huge question, it is very unlikely to come up as a big question again. Let's say A-level economics. Last year, if there was a question on monopsonies, it's very, very unlikely that there's going to be another 25 mark question on that this year. You can use this to strategically plan your revision. Finally, when a subtopic has little to no tallies next to it, you need to consider why that is. If it has no tally marks next to it because it's a very, very niche area of the specification that doesn't link to a lot of other things, you might want to pay that less attention than those core topics come up time and time again. If there is an area of the spec that relates to loads of other things, like we'll use A-level economics, price elasticity of demand, you can pretty safely say that if that has not come up in 3 years, that will come up in some way, shape or form because it relates to so many other things. It's not come up in ages, it's very, very likely to come up. But if we have a very, very niche area of the specification that has not come up, some really small subtopic like the Easterlin paradox, no matter what subject it is, these do exist and you know exactly what they are. You may want to pay that less attention even though it is likely to come up. There are some things that you cannot write a long answer question on. You could not write a 25 marker on the Easterlin paradox. So if I had 30 minutes to revise, it was between revising that and revising the entirety of inflation, I think I know what I would cover. This is a method that a lot of YouTubers and teachers use to form their predictions of the paper. Things that come up time and time again, and those things that haven't come up in a while help form their predictions. Oftentimes, examiners make these predictions on the internet, so I highly recommend go make your own predictions, but use other people's as well. There is nobody stopping you from watching a YouTube video on a teacher who thinks they have predicted the topics that are most likely to come up in this year's GCSE Biology Paper 1. You can use this to strategically plan your revision, but this is not to say it is definite. You will never definitely know what comes up. I need to say this. You can make a more accurate prediction and use this to plan what you will spend more time revising and dedicate more time to understanding. If you like this video and you found it helpful, be sure to like and subscribe because I'm going to be posting my top study tips and tricks every single day until your exams. Bye guys, love you.